And then we're going to go from there. And then we're kind of going to explain what's going on in the world at large and how this fits into it. You let us know, David.
Gerard,
Yeah?
you are live.
Yet another hot opening for the as yet named podcast. David, this is getting a little ridiculous. We are, 9 episodes in now?
8 episodes.
We are
yeah.
8 episodes in, and we still do not have a name.
What up, bro? And we've gone through a bunch of names.
Hundreds. They're all taken. Every single podcast name ever is taken. This is like a Seinfeld episode where they want to start a podcast. Everybody loves their podcast, but they can't come up with a name, so they just give up on the podcast. This is a 2022 Seinfeld would be fantastic. What do you think the closest thing to Seinfeld we have today is?
It's Always Sunny.
Always Sunny. Yeah, I can see that. Always Sunny.
Yeah, it's Always Sunny. It's
Always
the closest thing. A friend group that are like raunchy and like sociopaths almost.
Yeah, that's Always Sunny is Seinfeld with like a if Seinfeld drank PBR, that's Always Sunny. Yeah. That's the idea. Yeah. So that one made that. Who's George? Is Mac George?
No, Charlie's George.
Is he?
Yeah, all the unfortunate stuff happens to George.
I don't know. I think
Costanza.
Charlie. Well, who's Kramer? Is Frank Kramer or is Charlie Kramer?
Oof, I think Frank's Kramer.
Frank's Kramer.
Yeah.
Well, D is Elaine.
Or Mac.
Mac's Elaine. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Greg says, your podcast is nice, but it's so crowded in this podcast area. Yeah, it's like this is a party where you can't move, for sure. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to get. Let's get right into it today, David. We got student loan. Student loan debt is being up to $10,000, $20,000 if you have a Pell Grant is being forgiven by the government. If you have a government student loan, very, very key, and if you make less than $125,000 a year. David, thoughts?
Oh, man. Well, I have, and I guess I'm just putting my business out there. I have student loans. I have quite a bit. I'm not even going to say how much, but I have student loans. 10 grand taken off.
But you make more than 125 grand a year, though, so.
I do not. I wish. But 10 grand taken off the top, great. 20 grand taken off the top, even better. How about you take all of it, though?
All right.
Just take all of it. I haven't been paying, no one's been paying student loans unless you're a schmuck. You've been paying them.
No one's been paying student loans.
You shouldn't be since 2020.
That's right.
Since they paused the payments.
Let's come back to that. That's a very good.
So it's like if no one's been, to your point of like the debt strike, right? And that would affect the government terribly.
You see where I'm going with this.
It's like, well, they've kind of done their own version of it where no one's paying this debt.
They
and
never
it's
pay
been
their
fine.
bills. They never pay their bills.
Nothing's ever happened.
The Democrats specifically, but the government never pays their bills. That's where the concept of the debt strike comes in. More than that, okay, there's a lot of propaganda when it comes to the popcorn ceiling is triggering me. You're not kidding, man. I don't own this place yet, so I can't. There's everything about this place I would change. There's so much about this place I would change. But yeah, I got a comment just completely threw me for a loop. You're right. Yeah, the popcorn ceiling should trigger you.
Popcorn ceiling's triggering me.
Yeah. So. Couple things, right? Imagine you make exactly 125,000 or 130,000.
Imagine just exactly.
Do you walk into your boss's office like, I got an idea. I want to make $124,000. Yeah. I will give back 6 to the company. You give me an extra week's vacation, and we'll call it even. Because I'm gonna make 10. Now, a big thing. A lot of people. Go ahead.
Sorry, but yeah, you make 10 for something that, let's be honest, is probably going to be gone in a couple of years. Like in
a couple of years.
Not even, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I'm being just giving them more time, but I doubt student loans are going to be a thing in the near future. Like they're all going to be wiped. Dude, that's the best way to sway voters. Hey, I can wipe your student debt. They've been doing it for so long.
There's only so much forgive away crap you can do before even the most narcissistic amongst us says, oh, man, this is bad for society at large.
You think if they wiped all student loans, it'd be bad for society?
Very bad.
Oh, jeez. Why?
Be remarkably bad.
Why? You're debt strike guy.
Yeah, well, because it doesn't wipe the student loans. They don't go, oh, it's gone. What happens to that money? Are the schools giving it back?
No, it's just gone. It's all good. You're fine. Just move on.
No, so it obviously, as you know, goes on to the taxpayer, right? So there's a lot of layers. Let me get into it. There's a lot of layers here, okay? First of all, $10,000, you know, the amount of propaganda behind this about people that did it the right way and, you know, saved up, they are getting screwed. And there's no way around it. They're getting screwed. But they continuously get screwed. And they get screwed because Republican leadership is horrible. It's horrible. The Republican leadership, Mitch McConnell in particular, is as bad as it can possibly get. What does this guy do? I mean, what is their platform? What are they running on? They're trying so desperately. Everybody thinks this big red wave is coming in November. It's not coming. They're limping to the barn. They're trying desperately not to say anything because they are so afraid of the establishment media whipping them on any time they take a stance about anything. And this is exactly why the MAGA people are as crazy for Trump as they are, because they really don't care about any of his negatives. At least he fights for them, or at least he gives them the perception that he fights for them, where everybody else doesn't. $1 billion a week to the Ukraine, go for it. Shut everybody down for 2 years. All right, give themselves a raise. Last time they gave us $1,200, what did it cost us? It cost us 2 years of our freedom, and now all gas and groceries are twice as expensive. That was a bad trade-off for the American people.
Yeah,
the American people got $1,200, and it cost them, latest estimates, about $70,000 for that $1,200 in tax burden going forward. So there's a couple different things to unpeel here. The people that say that this $10,000 is going to be a huge boon to the economy, they're morons. And I'm just sick of acting like they're not morons. The type of person that was struggling with $10,000 of debt, all right, $10,000 over 15 years is like $150, $160 a month. If you were struggling to make $150, $160 a month payments, you needed this help, and I'm happy for you. But you're not all of a sudden becoming a key cog in the economy.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're talking about teachers who need this debt. I've dated 3 teachers, and hate to paint with a broad brush, but that $10,000 is not going back in the economy. That $10,000 is going to a vacation in Cabo in August. That $10,000 is gone by March in credit card debt. All right? These people are so over-leveraged. There's the thing that people are right to be pissed off about and wrong to be pissed off about. Everybody's right and everybody's wrong in this instance. If we're going to give all this money to the Ukraine, if we're going to give out these, I love how they're trying to throw like the PPP loans out of people. Like, you took the PPP loans. Yeah, you shut the economy down.
Yeah.
You shut the economy down. So this idea that I took the loans, wait, so you do something. This is the Democrat Kafka trap that Republicans keep falling into, and it drives people out of their minds, right? So you punch me in the face every day for 10 years, okay?
Sure.
Then you stop punching me in the face, and you're like, hey, aren't you grateful you don't get punched in the face anymore? Isn't this good? Oh, I guess. Hey, wasn't it a lot worse when you were getting, yeah, but you were the one punching me in the face. Whoa. Hey, you accepted to stop being punched in the face, okay? Did you not accept to stop being punched? It's like, dude,
yeah,
shut up, right? So this idea of the PPP loans, if you're going to give the money away, anybody that doesn't take the money is an idiot. Anybody who doesn't take the student loan debt relief is an idiot. And if we're going to give $1 billion to Zelensky a week in the Ukraine, at least this is helping some American people. Fine with it. Are we hollowing out the economy? Absolutely yes. 100%, and it's by design. That's what people struggle with. The taxpayer, the everyday Joe, the guy who went to trade school, the guy who became it's cliche to say, but we're asking plumbers to pay for the debt of lawyers right now. And there's a social aspect to this too, where everybody in every school said, if you don't go to college, you're a loser. So these people had to deal with their teachers talking down to them, demeaning them. And now, David, check this out. College. Do they get subsidies? from the taxpayers? Yes, they do. They get billions of dollars in subsidies, especially state schools, okay? Then they get tuition. Now they get reimbursement from the taxpayer. So the taxpayer has paid for somebody's degree 3 times now. Now, if they work publicly, if they're a teacher, how do teachers get paid?
Taxpayer.
That's right. So the taxpayer has now paid the teacher 4 times over. And all we ever hear about is how the teachers are underpaid. Yeah. Taxpayers paid for the teacher's education once, paid for the teacher's education twice, and now they're paying for it a 3rd time. And then they pay for the actual teacher. Dude, this is a Ponzi scheme. We are a paper tiger. And what this really shows is how broke we are. Because what they need, like you said, nobody is paying their student loans. Nobody's doing it. Now, here's the rub that I don't think a lot of people are reading the fine print here. Do you know that this $10,000 is being shown as taxable income at the end of the year?
No way.
Yeah, so this $10,000 in debt relief that you take.
Hey, Gerard, sorry to interrupt you. It seems like we're having a little bit of internet issues here on the YouTube side.
Man, this is frustrating every fucking week, huh?
Yeah, one sec. Let me see.
All it does is fire up Elizabeth Duffy says all it does is fire up the populist movement even more. It does. It does, because they feel like they're getting a raw deal. And you know why? Because they are getting a raw deal. Big Kid 541 says, where do you get this junk? From Q? This is like, what about this is Q? What 3 times over now? And more than that, the frustrating thing is that Republicans are feckless. They do absolutely nothing. What I really wanted, and I talked to some people about messaging about this, and this is something I thought that the Libertarian Party should jump all over. You should be all for student loan debt forgiveness. This is a consumer protection issue. This is not about you signed up for the debt, pay your debt. No, man, these people were lied to. These are 17-year-old kids that were pressured by an entire education industrial complex into making this decision to take out a 20-year mortgage on a degree where they don't even know if they want to do this job or not. There's some schools that won't let you in unless you take a certain degree, right? So if you if you do less on your SAT in math than you do in English, a school will let you in, but you have to be an English major. And it's like, well, I really want to be in business. Well, you can't. Take out the loan and pay us back anyway. No. Like, if you have a lawnmower that doesn't work and you want to bring it back to the Home Depot, there's people who go, hey, you bought that lawnmower. No, they go, hey, that's bullshit. They should take the lawnmower back. If you were sold this idea that if I get a college degree and I spend $150,000, I'm going to come out of here with a 6-figure job, and 6 months out of school, you're still looking for work, or a year and a half out of school, you're working as a waiter, you got a raw deal. This is a consumer protection thing. Where everybody screwed up is that they immediately went to, well, we should make the taxpayer pay for this.
Right.
No, we should have made the schools pay for this. And that's where Republicans are completely useless.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you on the part that it's like, well, if you graduated and you were promised this, 6-figure job and you didn't get it, then you were screwed. I disagree with that. Also, people are responsible for, I got a degree, but I'm just going to sit home all day. It's like, well, Did you also put in the work to get that 6-figure job?
No doubt. You're right about that, right? And then the AOC is going to kick you out of the Green New Deal because, remember, a big part of the Green New Deal is not just people that are unable to work. People that are unwilling to work should be taken care of also.
No, fuck that. But listen, another thing is, like, there is a way of loan forgiveness called borrower's defense, where if you feel that you were misled by your school or,
it's almost impossible. That was Reagan that did that. It's almost impossible, and you can't BK.
Well, yes and no. There are a bunch of schools right now that are. It's a Sweet versus Cardona, I believe, where it's a class action settlement lawsuit thing, and they're going through it.
You're right. This is against the for-profit schools like Phoenix Online and stuff like that.
The Art Institute.
Yes.
Yep. So if you guys, if anyone went to those schools, apply for that. And they put your loans on pause. I know because I went to the Art Institute and I did it. They pause your loan indefinitely until they come out with a verdict, and then you're done. It takes like 36 months after the decision, but you're not paying any loans.
Sure.
So there are like ways. But.
Which is good. This is a consumer protection issue. I have no problem. Student loans are an issue. College is a scam. The biggest problem I have with this is that what does this do to affect the cause? This is a Band-Aid on a tumor. Like, okay, hey, look, we're doing something. You're not. What are we? Why? What happened when they gave a $7,500 EV credit in the new whatever it's called? What's the actual name of the new Green New Deal? No,
environmental.
The Inflation Recovery Act,
inflation,
or whatever.
yeah.
Which all they talk about is climate change. I thought we were affecting inflation. No, we're saving the planet.
Inflation of the climate.
Inflation of the climate change. Yeah. So they gave a $7,500 tax credit for EV vehicles, and what did Ford immediately do? Raise the price of EV vehicles by $7,500. Mm-hmm. What is affecting the price of college right now? What's affecting it? Like theoretically, with student loans, they give them to everybody. 25%, 30%, 25 years. What they can charge $1 million a year, and if people are going to get a loan, nobody's paying for this stuff anyway. Yeah. So all this does is this is bailing the banks out in 2008 all over again. This is just like, okay, we'll just here. I know people are struggling. Here, take some money and shut up, kid. Like this does nothing to affect the actual thing. What we could do, two things we should do. All right, one, get rid of student loans altogether. And everybody says, why? So college should only be for the rich? No, absolutely not. We need to rethink education. They rethink the whole thing, right? Like, why? It goes all the way back to Good Will Hunting. You can do this entire 4 years with a free library card and a reading list. Like,
and a YouTube link.
Yeah, dude. So, this idea, and they know it too. They're selling lifestyle. These are grown-ass adults that sell sex to kids. Like, come to Alabama, roll tide, go to a football game. Like, when I was taking all my recruiting trips, right? When I was a big shit prospect taking all my recruiting trips, I didn't see the inside of a classroom once on one recruiting trip.
Right.
Not once. They took me to a football game. It was homecoming week. We hung out in the baseball house. They took me to a frat party. They were selling the experience.
Yeah.
So really everybody knows what they're doing. They were like, look at these hot chicks we got. You're going to hang out with them and they're going to be drinking all the time for 4 years, buddy. Tell me that's not worth $200,000.
It's like the military.
Take my money.
Yeah.
Take it.
The military also makes it look like you're going to be on these badass missions,
That's right.
saving America one fucking thing at a time. And then it's like, all right, well.
or at least they used to. Now it's like, hey guys, the military's great for you. It's like, yeah, dude. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make more than anything else is I agree with both sides. I think the student has been getting screwed because they have. And now I think the taxpayer is getting screwed because they are. Both things are right. And the rich people at the top are sitting there with the puppet masters, as cliche as it is, going, yeah, fight with each other. Yeah, fight. Meanwhile, you know who's getting paid through all this? The schools. The schools got the taxpayer money to begin with in subsidies. Then they got the student money. Then they got the taxpayer money again when the students couldn't pay for it. Schools are caking on caking on caking. What is Harvard's endowment? What's Harmon's? You know what an endowment is?
Refresh my memory.
An endowment is like a war chest. An endowment.
Oh, it's like a war chest. Yeah.
It's a savings. It's a savings account, but it's their slush fund essentially. Okay.
Sure. Yep.
That they're supposed to use for, capital improvements, but really they have the GDP of a mid-sized country, not a small country, a mid-sized country. Look at Harvard's endowment. Look it up. Pull it up for people.
Gotcha.
Harvard's endowment. How much do you guys think schools are badly underfunded? There's no information to the contrary. Philomena, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. Schools are underfunded. $17,000 per student. Public school in New Jersey.
Harvard's endowment valued at $53.2 million.
Million? Are you sure about that?
Billion. I'm sorry. $53.2 billion.
$53.2 billion
as of June 2021 is the largest academic endowment in the world. Its value increased by over $10 billion in fiscal year 2021, ending in the largest sum in its history.
So while everybody else was taking a bath, while everybody else was eating shit, Harvard took 110% leap. Harvard, 53 point what? 53.2 billion. So Princeton's right around there. Yale, classic product of Greece is. What's the GDP of Greece? Harvard. One school, Harvard, is 1/3 of the domestic product of Greece. The country.
Yeah.
Go to the world list of GDPs. See how many. Where would Harvard rank on the country list of GDPs. Just their endowment, mind you. This is not their other revenue sources.
GDP by country, Worldometer, sponsored by Worldometer. Okay, so we said 53 billy, right? Let's see. We're down in Colombia where it is 314 billy.
Sure.
If we keep going down,
Colombia's got twice the GDP of Greece.
I guess so. Bosnia and
Herzegovina,
18 billy.
Yeah. So where are we at? Give me how many countries are less than 50 billion?
Oh, less than 50 billion would be. We're at 83. Uzbekistan. With 49 billion.
So Harvard.
Call it 50.
The college, Harvard, in Cambridge.
Yeah.
Has a higher GDP than Uzbekistan and how many other countries? 60?
Yeah. Then we go down to Tuvalu with 39 billion. Or 39 million, excuse me.
So tell me why we didn't make the colleges pay for this. If I'm right, okay, and if both sides are right, if the student is getting screwed because they were, and if the taxpayer is getting screwed because they are, well, it seems to me that the connective tissue there is the school. So why are we deferring these payments to the taxpayer? Why are we making the plumber pay for the lawyer instead of just making the school pay?
Yeah.
Why does the big bank never lose? Right? Isn't that the issue? Why does the big bank never lose? And the answer is because they own the politicians. How many politicians, how many sitting people in our administration do you think went to Harvard? At least half.
Yeah.
Harvard, Yale, Princeton. How many people in office today come from those three schools? It's as the great George Carlin said, it's a big club and we ain't in it, bro. So that they screw the student. First, they screw the taxpayer by taking subsidies for the schools. Then they charge the student and screw the student by giving them insane student loans that they can't pay back. I mean, after 10 years, people are just paying interest off. You pay the loan twice over. I mean, there's a girl that I was dating. She was a teacher. She went to Monmouth University. It's like $40,000 a year to go to Monmouth. It's not even that great of a school. It's just beautiful. It's on the beach. People are paying $40,000 a year to go to a party, And it takes 5 years now to graduate college. It's almost impossible to get out of there in 4 years. They look down on people that go to a junior college or a community college. It's like, oh, you went to community college? I had a coach, Johnny Johnson. Best advice I ever got. He said,
Johnny Johnson?
Yeah.
Johnny Johnson.
Johnny
What's his
Johnson?
middle name?
I don't know. He's a great coach. And he told us straight up. Now, we didn't know shit about shit. My dad didn't know anything about any of this stuff. We got a lot of bad advice when I was being recruited. He said, Gerard, you're young for your grade. You're a little bit of a late bloomer. If you come to Brookdale, you'll actually make money. You'll get a scholarship and we'll get you an in-county discount. We'll pay for your book. So you'll actually make money going to school. And you'll be draft eligible both years. I'll either get you drafted or I'll get you into an SEC school. And I'm like, dude, that sounds legit. But it's a very hard sell to a kid with a 1400 SAT to go to Brookdale. Very hard sell to a kid with a 400, a 4.0 and a 1400 SAT to go to a community college. And, I wasn't a strong enough person to be like, nah, this is the right move. I was sold on prestige and I was sold on trying to do these other big things. And the glamour of it all got me, like I think it gets a lot of people. So they know that, though. They know what they're doing. They put atmosphere and partying and all that stuff in U.S. News and World Report. They know what they're selling these kids. They're selling these kids sex. They're selling these kids experience. There's a time and a place for everything, David, and it's called college.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, dude, I had fun in college. I'm not saying that it's not fun, but is it fun to mortgage 15 years? Going back to her, she took 5 years to graduate, to come out as a teacher, okay? $50,000 a year. That's $200,000, $40,000 a year. That's $200,000 in student loans. Damn. To come out and make $36,000. Okay?
Yeah, that's
15 years before she'd be net even. 15 years before she'd be net even if she had worked a retail job at $12 an hour the whole time.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's insanity. It's insanity. So the student is getting screwed. But there's no reason the taxpayer should get screwed because the student got screwed. The people that are doing the screwing on both sides are not held accountable because they're never held accountable. Because also, the worst part of it, where do politicians go after they're not politicians? Does anybody know what happens to these people?
Yeah, they just relax at Martha's Vineyard, no?
No, they get jobs at schools. They sit on the board at schools. Al Gore,
No.
Al Gore is on the board of 4 different schools. There was James McGreevey, the ex-governor of New Jersey. Jimmy. He resigned in disgrace because he came out because he came out as gay. It turned out he was lying about being straight. He was gay, and nobody had a problem with that. What they had a problem was is that he had 2 lovers on the payroll making like $150 grand.
That's baller. What's wrong with that?
It's baller. Yeah, right. He was just early. That would be easy corruption compared to what we deal with
How's
today.
that corruption?
What do you mean?
He's banging people?
You can't use taxpayer dollars to hire your fuck buddies.
Who said? Where's that written?
It's true. It's true. It's not in the Constitution.
That written
Show me
anywhere?
in the Constitution. Show me in the Constitution.
Hold on, buddy. Where does it say that? Show me and I'll stop it.
Show me where it says.
I can't hire my fuck buddies.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
What's
They're
happening?
hardworking people.
Now, what's crazy about it? After he resigned from being governor, he took a job. You can't make this up.
Oh no!
He took a job as a professor of political ethics at at Kane University, a state-funded school where he got to continue his pension. So
baller, dude. That guy's never
Baller.
not been a baller. He did that on purpose.
Okay, I'll give you one guess as to what political party old Jimmy McGreevey was part of.
Oh man, what a badass! I don't see what he did wrong. And then he did what I would. I'm going to be a professor of ethics, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you guys.
Tell me I'm not.
Tell me I'm not.
Tell me who knows more about it than me. Who knows? How are you? Hey, you can never be old and wise if you were never young and wild. Am I right, you guys? Yeah.
Also, yeah, he gets to now change the rules.
Yeah.
He tells you what's right, what's ethical.
This is like the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Catch Me If You Can. It's like, hey, I've been robbing you for years. You want to know how I've been doing it? Pay me money. It's the old hacker thing, right? Yeah. Hey, I hacked your whole system. If you want me to make sure nobody else can do it again, you should pay me $1 million.
There you go.
Yeah, good for them. So that's where I'm at on it, man. What are your thoughts here when we put a bow on this thing?
On the student loan forgiveness, man, I think it's a good way to help the people out in these troublesome times.
Okay.
Period.
Sure.
Look, I don't know.
Look, the cat's out the bag, right? Like, if we're going to give these insane amounts of money away to people, I'm happy at least the money's going to Americans. Fine. We're going to give all this money away to everybody. At least some Americans are getting some relief.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, you're not getting $20,000 cash. You're not really. I mean, I see what you mean by, well, it's $10,000 and $20,000 that
Well, you're not getting any cash.
Well, right. I mean,
you're actually going to pay about $2,500 for this $10,000 in taxes at the end of the year. It's another finesse, straight up Democrat finesse, straight up. Because, like you said,
just like my student loans, I'm not going to pay those either.
You're going to pay your taxes, buddy.
Nah.
They hired 87,000 new IRS agents.
I saw how they held those guns. They get, they're missing every shot.
Isn't it funny? That everybody's like, they hired 90,000 new IRS agents? It's like, it's for the billionaires. Also, the Venmo thing, $600, and the student loans. You guys don't want those, right? Well, we're gonna count them as tax. Go, it's fine. It's fine. It's
Pay
fine.
them little by little.
It's $2,500 each. You guys are gonna pay for all this stuff. And the most frustrating thing about it is the what's her name? Karine, whatever her name is, the woman who took over for Jen Psaki.
Okay, yeah.
I can't even watch her. So I don't know what her name is. I mean, there's never been somebody worse at their freaking job. I mean, this is like, remember before Huckabee Sanders, Trump was going through a new press secretary like every week because it was so horrible.
Yeah.
It was like,
he wasn't the easiest either.
Between Spicer and Huckabee, there was like 5 in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then the blonde took over. Whatever her name was, the hot blonde took over from McEnany. She was a good firecracker, that one. She was tough. So, and then you had Jen Psaki, who, as much as I can't stand the bitch, she was damn good. She went up there and she just would lie straight face to the nation and be like, yeah, what about it? What are you gonna do about it?
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? She'd have that little sly smile, that little good question. Next, she was gangster Psaki. And then they hired Karine here, and you've never seen somebody more overwhelmed in their job. Like every day she comes out there and it's like she's shaking backstage. Like, don't make me do this again. Get out there. Don't make me do this again. Listen, you're black and you're a lesbian, and that is what this administration wants. But I'm not good at this job. Get out there and go be black and lesbian on TV. Like, it's terrible that she reads off a book every day. She doesn't even have the answers.
Oh, shit.
You've never watched one of these press conferences. Not even once.
God, why would I? Why would I? It's just Homelander up there talking to me. These are the rules, and what are you going to do about it? Yeah, no, seriously, what are you going to fucking do about it? Protest?
What are you going to do?
Okay, protest. I don't give a shit.
What are you going to do?
Burn down that mom and pop shop. Do you think I give a shit?
But God forbid you follow those FBI agents into the Capitol.
Oh, those are just domestic terrorists.
Oh, for sure. Dude, they sentenced. What did they sentence those guys in the Gretchen Whitmer thing? Those guys got the kidnapping plot. Those guys got.
Oh yeah.
Those guys got sentenced. I think they got like 20 years.
Really?
I think so.
I stopped hearing about it once.
And dude, the FBI thought up that whole thing and recruited them. Imagine just being an idiot and they're like, yeah, I want to take over the government. And the FBI agent's like, I got an idea how we can do it. Okay. And then, why don't you come to this thing with me? Okay. And why don't you grab this? Okay. Hey, why don't you tweet it? Okay. I'm going to arrest you now. What? Like, dude, FBI's out of control, man. Out of control. They're just entrapping morons.
Kind of baller. I'm just kidding. David, see, I'll never be one of those morons, so I don't.
You'll never be one of those morons?
Nah, I don't hate anyone enough. I don't care enough.
All right.
See, it's like, well, those are morons.
Apathy will save you.
Hell yeah. Apathy and a little bit of ignorance.
Apathy and ignorance are the key.
Just a little bit.
That's the key.
It's like, I know the chef dropped the steak. I know he scratched his balls before he made my food. I don't want to know though. Mm-hmm. And then, the moment I do, it's ruined. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, a little bit of ignorance, a little bit of apathy goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Something's going on. My allergies are killing me today, man. My allergies are nuts. Sorry if I'm sniffing in the mic here.
I haven't noticed. Now I will notice.
Sorry. Yeah. So moving on to the Democrat finesse. Let's talk about how they got away with selling children to the penitentiary system.
I thought that was really interesting. Kid for cash scandal. I thought when you sent me this, I thought this was going to be the whole Wayfair thing where you buy a table for $10,000 and a baby
This
comes.
is not a conspiracy, my friend. This is 100% confirmed.
Wayfair was no conspiracy, my friend.
Tell the people what Cash for Kids is.
Cash for Kids.
1-800-CASH for Kids.
Good morning, Sharks.
C-A-S-A.
With my business, Cash for Kids. Okay, so the Cash for Kids scandal centered.
Don't be afraid to put the camera on you for this, bud.
No, it's on me. Judicial kickbacks to two judges at the Luzerne County Court of Common Pleas in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I'm sorry if I butchered it.
Wilkes-Barre.
Wilkes-Barre? Yeah. Holy shit. Gerard has gotten up from the table. In 2008, judges Michael Conahan and Mark Ciavarella were convicted of accepting money in return for imposing harsh injunctions on juveniles to increase occupancy at the PA childcare for-profit detention centers.
Yeah.
Kids for cash.
Yeah, so when I stumbled across this, I was like, why wasn't this national news? What the hell? This is everything Black Lives Matter is talking about. This is everything justice reform. This is everything Kim Kardashian was going to the White House to talk about. How is this not international news? They're literally taking kids and I'm never doing this TikTok live again. This is very frustrating. Like,
Why?
it just keeps blinking at me. People keep trying to get in, and it's like fucking my whole vibe up. All right, TikTok, you're out of here, people.
Okay.
It's like, dude, never.
I think you can hide that.
Oh, gotta show me how. But we gotta do
Are you
it.
popping a beer right now?
No.
Oh.
Bang energy drink.
Bang.
1,200 viewers on TikTok, so we have to do it. Like, but God Almighty. All right. Yeah. So this Cash for Kids thing, when I found out about it, I was shocked. I didn't know about it. I mean, I keep my ear to the floor pretty good here. I feel like I'm pretty up on current events. And I hadn't heard of this. Why wasn't this international news? Why wasn't this something that during the Black Lives Matter marches / riots / protests, wasn't this example number one of what they're talking about? This is it. This is literally everything that the left is claiming is wrong with the justice system. This is it. This is the thing where they were literally taking bribes. Judges were literally taking bribes to put children in jail for years and years and years so that they can be used as slave labor in these for-profit prisons. This is horrible. How is this not international news? Why do we know who Jerry Sandusky is? Why do we know who Jared Fogle is? But we don't know who these judges are. What happened here?
Yeah.
And then I did a little bit of digging. And it turns out there's a reason. And the reason, David, is what political party are those two judges in?
Oh, no, don't say it, mate.
You tell me, bro.
Are they Democrats?
They're the good guys.
Oh, okay.
So as long as they're on team good guy,
Yeah.
the media doesn't do any reporting on them.
Bingo.
Membership has its perks.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
So
I don't know how you can hate from outside of the club, bro. You can't even get in.
yeah, so these judges not effectually, these judges effectively sold children. But because they're Democrats, the media didn't think that was something that is a big deal. Black Lives Matter didn't use it as an example because all of Black Lives Matter donations, when everybody donated to Black Lives Matter, it went to Act Blue. Act Blue is the fundraising arm of the Democratic Party. So there's this idea, there's this feeling that everything is so full of shit from people because everything is full of shit. This is something, again, that we can all rally behind. This is something Republican, Democrat, left, left, right, white, black, gay, straight, a judge taking a bribe to put children in jail for longer than they deserve so a for-profit prison can make money off of their labor, child slave labor. I mean, this is like something, this is somebody evil out of a Charles Dickens book. This is something from antiquity. And this happened. When did this happen, David?
This happened in 2008.
2008. It's happened.
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
Obama's first year.
Coincidence? I'm just kidding.
But because they're Democrats, none of us have ever heard their names. That's a problem.
You think that's why?
A problem. 100%. You don't?
I mean, I think there's a lot of shit we don't know about.
Okay.
From both sides. Like, you don't know what you don't know, right?
I feel like after the last 12 years of social justice specific strife, we would know about this. Did you hear about this before I brought it up?
No. No, I didn't know about this.
Okay.
I didn't know about this. Yeah.
And do you know why?
Because they're Democrats.
Because you don't go to Juneteenth parties.
That's what they're talking about at Juneteenth parties.
Which is why they suck.
No. They're great parties.
So, jokes aside, you don't think the fact that they're Democrats had anything to do with the fact that this is essentially a shelf story?
I mean, I don't know. I can't say for sure. It's like, I hate saying that, yes, it's because they're Democrats, because then I sound like, Karen Paul from Facebook.
Okay.
It's like, those damn Democrats get away with everything.
They do.
But how do we know Republicans aren't getting covered shit up? And they are.
I mean, this isn't a conspiracy theory.
No, I mean...
This was people that were found.
Sure, and technically, I mean, what do you want? It wouldn't be front page of every newspaper?
I feel like we should know that this happened.
You do know. It's here.
Okay. Fair enough. And the people that are smart enough to listen to the as yet named podcast now know as well.
Let's see. Okay.
But for the masses at large, right? Let me ask you a different question.
Sure, ask me any question.
When you think of racism, which party do you think of?
Democrats.
Really?
No, I think of Republicans.
For sure. When you think of people, doing mass incarceration, which party do you think of?
Mass corporate
incarceration.
Dems.
Yeah, you do. All right, fair enough. I think most people think Republicans. I think most people, especially during the Black Lives Matter riots, they were saying Republicans, libertarians, white people in general are the problem, and they're putting black kids in jail. And here we are.
I don't think they were saying white people in general. I think they were saying, people in positions of power are putting, or unjustly putting minorities under.
In this case, they're 100% right, and it's documented. But they're on the team, so membership has its perks.
Repubs, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I know there's this picture that they paint that's like Democrat good guy because Democrat fight for little guy.
Sure.
Republican bad guy because Republican is white nationalists.
Yeah.
They're all white according to the
of course.
So there is definitely like that good guy bad guy thing.
So it's okay to take black kids, put them in jail for 3 times as long as they should have been in order for a corporation to make money, as long as you're not a Nazi when you do it.
No, of course it's not okay. But these are 2 judges. And it's the same example the right gives of cops. Where it's like, oh, well, all the cops killing black people, those are just bad apples.
Okay, but I bet you know who Derek Chauvin is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know either names of these.
Well, this wasn't like a video. There wasn't a video about, you know what I'm saying? Like Derek Chauvin, and this is kind of a different thing because it was like something that happened live in front of everyone. Mm-hmm. Where this was like, shady stuff going under the radar for a while. And
Amber Heard's trial was on with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
On TV every second. I tried to find footage of this trial. I actively searched for it.
Yeah. So trials aren't always televised or recorded.
Mm-hmm. And who determines whether or not they are?
I think the parties agree. Both parties agree.
I thought the judge.
The judge?
I think I could be wrong. You worked in the industry, but I thought the judge was the person who decided. First of all trials are open to the public.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
It's a public trial. Right? It's not in a back room. Everybody is allowed to sit in, are they not?
I want to say yes. I'm not too sure about that. I mean, what I did, trial work was mostly just video deposition. Mm-hmm. So I never went to the actual trial.
True Detective, amazing season 1 video depositions.
Yep,
it's a show on video.
Detective Dulett. What were we saying? Yeah, so they're just kind of different.
You legitimately don't think, and we're
no, I just hate being like, yep, Democrats. It's because they're Democratic.
I'm just saying, dude. Why do I talk about this almost every week? Because there's such it feels like a damn psyop. There's such a constant. I feel like I'm being gaslit every second of every day. I feel like, when it came to Hillary Clinton, but her emails, it's like, yeah, your emails, dude. Like they are nonstop. The manipulation is nonstop. Oh, if you don't want these student loans, then just because you had it good doesn't mean you're a bad person if you don't want to pay for somebody else's. Like, dude, what are you talking about? Now we're the bad guys. The people that paid off their loans, the people that went to work, the people that saved, they're the bad guys now.
Yeah.
It's the nonstop gaslighting. It's the nonstop manipulation. And then you sit here and you say everybody but a Democrat is a bad guy. If you're online for even a second, that's Twitter all day, every day. If you're not a Democrat, you're a bad guy. Every late night television show, if you're not a Democrat, you're a bad guy. And then you look at it and you're saying, well, are you guys holding yourselves to those same standards? Absolutely not. So we're really getting into a position of membership has its perks. We're really getting into a position where you're either in the party or you're out. With global communism creeping, that's a very dangerous place to be.
Absolutely.
That's a very, very dangerous. And again, I'm biased. One of the most influential books of my life is The Gulag Archipelago.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about this.
He started as a member of the party.
Hell yeah.
And he was part of helping ostracizing and othering people. He believed the kulaks deserved what was happening to them. There's too much, when we talked about Andrew Tate last week, there's too much of this, yeah, but they deserved it. When we talked 3 weeks ago about Donald Trump, yeah, but he deserved it. There's too much, yeah, but he deserved it. There's too much justifying bad things happening to people we disagree with because there's this idea of like, yeah, but they deserved it. I got to tell you, that never stops. The power dynamics never get to a place of homeostasis. The power dynamics never get to a place of leveling out where it's like, okay, well, we got rid of all the bad people. The people that are powerful are addicted to power. They'll constantly find a weak link to attack to give them more power. There will, it's cliched, but it's the old saying with the Holocaust where, they came for, I don't remember the saying exactly, so I don't want to quote it. But the idea is first they came for the bakers, but I wasn't a baker, so I didn't care. Then they came for the Catholics, and I wasn't a Catholic, so I didn't care. Then they came for the Jews, and I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't care. Then they came for me, and there was nobody left to care.
Yeah,
and there's a social engineering aspect going on, where the powers that be are trying to see, all right, like how much is the public gonna let us get away with? And I guarantee you, their findings over the last 3 years are astronomical. Their findings are, man, we can pretty much do whatever we want. As long as we keep the air conditioning on, keep these people slightly fed, and we give them reality TV, sports, and porn, we can do whatever we want. We've made the prison comfortable enough.
Yeah, but there is going to be a breaking point, right? Like we spoke about this maybe a couple months ago where like, yeah, right now the balance is the scale is tipped to one side, but it's going to break at some point. It can only hold so much.
200 years?
200 years? You think it's going to last? No way.
How long did it take for the Soviet Union to collapse?
Yeah, we're living in different times, my brother.
You think it's going to be accelerated?
Yeah, absolutely. You said it. No, you agreed, and you said this actually. You said that we're going through a revolution that happens constantly, except through technology and social media and everything, it's being sped up.
Agreed.
So that's the same thing.
But the revolution,
the way it's sped up to begin, it's gonna speed up to end too. There's only so much, and you said it, and like I agree with you. There's only so much the left can take. Now you start. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's only so much people on the left can really admit from the Democratic Party. Where now, like you said, they're going to start losing the Hispanic vote. The more they get loosey-goosey with LGBTQ and all this, we're like very religious Hispanics and be like, well, slow down now. So once you start losing things like that.
I just want to be very clear about that, just to clarify. The LGBTQ community is not the issue.
No, they're not. But it's the way that
lesbian,
they're being
gay,
weaponized.
Yeah, it's the children that are the issue. It's the the fact that I just posted this yesterday, and this comes from Gays Against Groomers. There was in 2007. There was 2 pediatric gender centers in America. Now there's over 2,500. So, is that a good thing? Is that a sign of social progress? Is that a bad thing? I think it's a very, very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Because there are so many parents that want to be desperately seen as progressive. They want to desperately be seen as one of the good guys.
Gay people.
Whatever. Yeah. There's people out there that are like, my 8-year-old is transitioning and I couldn't be prouder. It's like, when I was 8, I thought I was a Ghostbuster. Just if they're actually trans, if they actually have gender dysphoria, if they're actually in the wrong body, God bless. I don't know what that's like. And I haven't, sympathy for people that are legitimately going through that. But I'm also a critical thinker. And I know that there are some crazy parents out there that are pushing their kids in this direction for clout.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no way that they can change this.
No. And then, so Michaela Peterson did an interview with this woman. I forget her name and apologize. But she brought up a point.
Can we just talk about what a babe Michaela Peterson is for just a second?
She brought up a point that there are some cases, we don't talk enough about the kids that transition and then regret it.
Yeah, they get silenced.
Why don't, and it's like, okay, well, why did you transition? It's like, why did you let them transition? Why did you let them take hormone blockers, puberty blockers. Like, this is insane.
And it's not a small amount of them.
It's not, but you don't hear about it enough.
Yeah, there's a significant amount. And the ones that we hear about are the lucky ones, because post-transition, I believe, is almost 50% suicide rate.
Wow.
Like 1 in 2, bro.
Post-transition?
Look up that number so I don't get banged by Zuckerberg for being fake news. But I believe it's something insane, like 50% post-transition surgery. It's not, well, now that hopefully those numbers are going down now that thousands and thousands of people are having those surgeries. But the suicide rate is remarkably high. So as far as the people that regret it, those are the people that survive as well. And they are being silenced. And what's crazy is the money where this is coming from. All the money from this. There's a huge, huge trans lobby. This is not coming from nowhere. This is not organic. This is coming from George Soros. And George Soros' name gets thrown around a lot. George Soros. Somebody should really look into everything George Soros has his fingers on. This dude is nuts. What he is giving money to, what he's not giving money to, and how much money he gives to certain things. This guy gets whatever he wants. Whatever this guy wants in the culture, he gets it. He literally gets it. Now, he's a 90-year-old ex-Nazi. This is one of the thought leaders. The three major thought leaders we have in the world right now are arguably Bill Gates, son of a CIA agent who was a eugenicist. We have Klaus Schwab, a communist, also born under Nazi rule, who has a bust of Vladimir Lenin in his office, and George Soros, who was it's a Snopes thing. This is one of those things that drives me out of my mind with misinformation, right? You say George Soros was a Nazi, and they will claim that's false. That's false. And then you actually have to look. I love how they do this. Giant X, false. Then there's an ad. Then there's another ad. Then there's an article underneath where within the article, somewhere in the third paragraph that nobody on earth ever gets to, they say, well, actually, George Soros was a Hungarian Jew who worked for the Nazi Party against his fellow Jews. And it was only because he had to choose between, wait. I'm sorry, man. Is that so I can't say that he's a Nazi? Oh, no, it's fine. He just worked for the Nazis. My bad. So that's the crazy shit. All right? Anybody that says Snopes, anybody that says PolitiFact, anybody that looks up USA Today, amazing thing. If you can, pull up Twitter and go to Eric Weinstein. And if you can get it on for the people to see, that'd be even better. He did a thread about people are coming after him for appearing on Fox News. And Eric Weinstein, his brother Brett, two of my favorite podcasters. The Dark Horse podcast is one of the best podcasts out there. You learn so much about humanity, about society from him and Heather. And Eric is great. And they are by no means right-wing in any way where we're operating from reality. And I do want to get to a place where everybody can agree with what's happening. You can agree or disagree with the reason for it happening. But I just want us all to be in the same space of this is happening. Right? So when I'm talking about these things, when I bring this up, a lot of times it's me reinforcing conversations I've had with other people that I respect, other people that, I'm having conversations off air. And a lot of them are very left-leaning people. Being in the industry that I'm in, I had a person that's a producer, and we're working on a new project that I'm very excited about. And he essentially expressed to me, he was very complimentary. He said, Gerard, I think you're an all-time talent. He's like, dude, I think you are one of the best on the mic. You're incredible. But you got to stop with these conspiracies, man. You're unsellable. And I'm like, wait, like what conspiracies? Be specific. Like, well, there's always a problem. There's always somebody in the shadows. There's always, and I'm like, well, okay, but what if there is? I feel like what you're telling me to do is choose between being truthful or talking about my career. Like, is it a conspiracy that my groceries have gone up by more than double in 6 months? Or is that truth? Is it a conspiracy that gas is double what it was 2 years ago and we're being told that, hey, we should be happy about it because it's coming down? Is that a conspiracy or is that truth? Like, we can't operate from a position of, if me telling an inconvenient truth is being labeled a conspiracy theorist, that's a problem to me. It's a problem to me that, if I'm telling the truth that mass media won't say, that makes me a conspiracy theorist. I either have to choose to omit the truth if I want to move my career forward. Hey, man, you're never going to get on Colbert if you keep telling the truth. Like, what? I mean, that's insane.
Well, then it's like, do you, because I guess from his perspective, it's like, well, as a comedian, it's like your job is to keep things light and funny.
I don't think that's true. I think my job as a comedian is to say very difficult things in a way that people are willing to listen. The jokes and the comedy and the levity are there to keep people, interested in the harder topics that you're talking about. We should, the highest aspect of the art is saying things people don't want to hear in a way that they can't stop listening. Chappelle and Bill Burr and Andrew Schultz and Tim Dillon and, these guys are not out there being like, fart, dick joke.
Yeah.
Now there's an aspect.
Yeah, but they started with fart, dick joke.
Sure, and so did I. But there's also a rebellious aspect. We're all class clowns and we're all anti-authoritarians. And there's a rebellious aspect where, listen, if I'm wrong, I got no problem admitting I'm wrong. I have no problem admitting I'm wrong. You call me out on something. You called me out for being wrong on air, 2 weeks ago? I didn't say, all right, well, cut this out. Or, no, look, all right, cool, I'm wrong. I got to reevaluate my position. I'll tell you what else, talking about reevaluating my position. I have found myself in such moral opposition to all things World Economic Forum that I've been eating more red meat than I've ever eaten before in my life.
You should. Everyone should eat more red meat.
So I'm like, you want me to eat bugs? I'm eating steak and eggs every freaking morning. How do you feel about this? And then I remember how, the story of the German prince who tried to get Germany on potatoes. Did you ever hear this?
No.
There's who wanted Germany to eat potatoes because then they'd have a second source of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And it'd be very, very cheap to feed the peasantry. And, the potatoes were very easy to grow in that land. But people looked at the potato and they thought it looked like shit. And they said, I'm never eating this crap. This is horrible. So his first instinct was to force the people to eat it. They were like, you eat the potatoes or else we're going to kill you. And there's actually people they executed for being anti-potato. You can look this up. And it didn't work. The peasants were like, I don't care. Kill me. I'm not eating that. It's horrible. And then they switched up. They said, you know what? No peasants can eat potatoes. Potatoes are only for the aristocracy. And he would put guards up. They would put guards royal guards at the potato farms. But with the wink and a nod that was like, let them steal it. Because the peasants would come in and be like, well, you say I can't eat these potatoes? I'm eating nothing but potatoes. Fuck you.
You would have been one of those.
So here I am eating the steak going, yeah, screw you, Klaus Schwab and World Economic Forum. And then I go to take a bite and I'm like,
oh, no, wait a minute.
does Klaus Schwab own a beet farm? Is he potato farm? I don't know what's real. I don't know. What do I do? I'm like shaking.
You're curled up in a corner.
I can't win. I can't beat these people. If I eat the steak, is it because they want me to eat the steak?
I don't know what you want from me. I'm just a man.
Yeah, I'm just a man. I mean, I sit there and I can see why you don't watch the stuff. I watch the stuff because I'm a masochist and because when I write, I got to stay topical. But there's just so much I get angry about. I'm looking at Fauci on TV going around saying, I never told anybody to lock down.
I didn't say that. Who the fuck said the lockdown?
Said that. And the lockdowns, it's nothing we can't get over. And I'm just sitting here like Breaking Bad, like he can't keep getting away with this. He can't keep getting away with this. Dude.
When the fuck did I say lockdown, huh?
Yeah.
Tell me, when the fuck did I say that?
And now this is how you know, by the way, we're about to be vindicated on all things V. We're about to be vindicated because now they're starting to blame Trump. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see this the last 2 days?
No.
Oh, you got to see it. Where the I think it was Politico came out and said, CDC. I don't know how to organize. I'm not going to organize. I don't have the finances. I don't have the I put that out there, and I'll continue to put that out there for a great person to come along and take the baton and run with it.
Yeah.
I don't want any credit. I don't want any money from it. Just do it. I love this fucking country. I love this place. And that's not a platitude. I've been traveling this nation since I was 17 years old. I've literally spent more than half of my life on the road. I love this place. This is an amazing country. And I've been out of the country. I've been to Canada, I've been to Mexico, I've been to, I don't want to say I'm world traveled. I'm not. But I've been all over North and Central America. I've been to the Caribbean, mostly through baseball. And I'm telling you, this country's great, man. Country has its warts. Don't get me wrong. But this country's great.
All those damn Republicans.
Damn Republicans.
Sorry, I forgot.
No, it should be damn Republicans. It should be damn Republicans because they're useless. They're useless. They don't want to have the fight. They're the most selfish politicians on earth. They're all more concerned with saying nothing so that they can keep raking in campaign contributions than they are for actually doing their job.
Yeah. I want to make a point to your...
Did we ever get to Eric Weinstein? Or
I have his tweet pulled up, but now that you brought up the debt strike, it sounds like someone may have taken the baton and ran with it.
Really? Who?
Mortgage strikes threaten China's economic and political
I saw that.
stability. Do you want to talk about that?
I don't know enough about it. I tried looking into it.
I have an article from The Guardian.
I read the article from The Guardian.
Okay.
It's hard to keep up with what's going on over there because there's no way to know what information is real and what's not.
Right.
But it's very promising.
This isn't pro-China, so I'm feeling
No, it's not pro-China.
No, I'm saying if it, usually anything fake is, I don't know why they would make this up.
No,
China...
Go ahead. Tell the people. For people that don't know.
The people that don't know, mortgage strikes threaten China's economic and political stability.
But the mortgage strike wasn't... The mortgage strike is not... well, I'll give the people context.
So the alarm bells are ringing louder, reads the Guardian article. Last week, hundreds of depositors gathered in front of the Zhengzhou branch of the People's Bank of China in the capital of Henan, demanding their frozen life savings held in rural banks. A day later, tens of thousands of homeowners threatened to stop paying mortgages after watching podcast name pending with Gerard Michaels.
David the Commie puts in his resignation. How dare you do this to my CCP? Nah, dude. Well, the impetus for this is that the government completely seized people's funds. They wouldn't let people have access to their funds. They locked down their accounts. Which again, coming soon to America, digital currency and government full access to your finances.
More to 11.
So they wouldn't let people have access to the funds, and people were like, okay, well then we're not paying our mortgage because you're not giving us our money. The government's like, okay, click clack. What was that?
I said, when do I pay this mortgage, sir?
But then more people actually got involved in it. The people of China are getting pretty fed up. China's, as bad as things were here in America, they were 10 times worse in China. Mm-hmm. There were bots, literal drones flying through the streets at night when people were singing to each other from hardcore quarantine lockdowns. They were singing to each other from their balconies. And the bots went through saying,
shut up!
Basically, but even more Orwellian, resist your soul's urge for freedom. Freedom is something about being narcissistic of the West. It's like freedom is a selfish, not a sin, like not a virtue. What's the opposite of a virtue? Indulgence would be the perfect word. I don't know if that's true. This is paraphrase, but indulgence would be the perfect word of what they were trying to get across. Resist your soul's urge for freedom. Freedom is a selfish indulgence of the West.
Yeah, I agree. David the Commie.
David the Commie.
So what's your point? And
so
I put my dog in a cage every day. I've done the same thing.
And I think about that all the time. I've used this quote before, but it's the truth. Like some dogs, man, they learn to love their leash, don't they? Like you want to live free at all, and you get some of these crazy progressives out there. Like, what are you gonna do out there? What do you don't like roads?
Yeah, but notice what happens. Honestly, to stay on that example of a dog, the moment you take a leash off your dog, he looks at you, looks at the leash, looks at you. Books it.
There's two different types of dogs. There's the dog, you let them outside, and the first thing they do is run to the fence because they want to see what's beyond that fence.
Yeah.
And there's other dogs that do just, They sit in the shade with their bowl right next to them.
Yeah. You know what kind of dogs are those? Those are the dogs that you put a shock collar on, and they're afraid that even though leash isn't on them, dude, it's gonna fucking shock me.
That's
I know.
right.
So I'm just gonna sit.
That's right.
Just gonna sit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. God damn it!
Master's good to me.
Master loves me.
Master gives free food, free healthcare, free shelter.
Free shelter. Master puts me outside because he loves me.
Master gave me free education. I know how to sit and give paw now.
I have a retractable leash now. Go a little bit further.
Hey, man. Some dogs love their leash, bro.
And then if you put the ones that
And all it costs that dog. I mean, if you think about it, the dog gets free education.
Yep.
It gets free healthcare.
Yep.
It gets its poop cleaned up after it.
Sure.
It
I love you.
Gets to walk around naked. Free food.
You pet
free
it.
air conditioning.
He loves me except when he smacks me.
It gets love as long as it's obedient.
As it's obedient. Yes, sir.
But the second that dog has even a second of free will,
you gonna get it, boy.
that benevolent leader, that benevolent God
Yeah.
comes down hard.
Yeah, it does. I come hard.
What?
No, on the dog.
One more time.
I don't. No, I'm not.
From the top.
No,
From the top.
I'm not coming on my. I'm like I come down on him.
Yeah, well, you are taller.
I come. Yeah, I come.
You reprimand him.
Yes.
Yeah. Animal Protective Services coming to Detective Delights.
No one's coming on anything.
Well, look, I mean, it's obviously an oversimplification,
But I mean, dude, it's uncanny how. I mean, yeah.
But and it's the same thing with us. As long as you're obedient,
Yeah. You shut up. Here's your food.
you shut up,
Here's your health care.
shut your mouth. And the thing about it is, like, people are, shut your mouth. Give me your balls. Give me your balls. In many cases, quite literally now. Like, there's parallels here. And the crazy thing is like, it's the same people doing it over and over and over. It's like,
And you will own nothing and like it.
you'll own nothing and you'll love it.
Dude.
Dog.
Yeah, exactly. Back in the day, I remember you would download all these illegally, all these MP3s, or legally if you buy them off the iTunes store, and they were your MP3 files, and you could listen to your music on whatever device you wanted. You could buy your movies. A DVD physical copy was really, you could hold it. You could look at the art on it. You could download it, and it was your file. Now, you'll pay to borrow my movies to watch.
All day.
And if the internet's gone, well, you're fucked. You can download it, sure, on your Netflix thing, but it's not yours. Don't delete Netflix. It's not yours.
Yeah, hey, man, my Netflix isn't working. Can I call customer service?
No.
Due to COVID-19,
It's 2024.
call times are longer than normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you'll own nothing and like it.
Hey, man, why I wanted to bring up Eric Weinstein is because this is what's necessary. It's not going to... Republicans are not going to do a damn thing. Republicans whine, Democrats win. It's going to have to come from the reasonable Democrats within the Democrat Party. The only chance this country has...
They'll be silenced.
Well, this is... Bring up Eric Weinstein. It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Let's go through... It's very funny that you say that because listen to his quotes. And this goes to my shadow banning, and it's very interesting that you said that they'll be silenced because now we're going to read Eric Weinstein's tweets.
Okay, so
The context, real quick, just before you get started, the context is he was getting crushed by his Twitter feed for being a complete sellout of the academic left, for going on Fox and essentially talking shit on Sam Harris. And we talked about what Sam Harris did last week, how Sam Harris said essentially the corruption was warranted. Goes back to what we were talking about earlier, David, of it doesn't matter that the FBI helped, essentially rig an election here, because that's what they did. It's okay that they did it because it was warranted. And that was Sam Harris's point. He doesn't care if Hunter Biden had literal dead children in his basement. Nothing that he could do was worse than Trump, so it doesn't matter. I.e., corruption's fine as long as it's my guys doing the corruption. Eric Weinstein went on Fox News and said, for a guy that's made his career off of intellectual integrity and morality, that's a bad look. All right. So he got crushed on Twitter, and his response is.
So this is what Mr. Weinstein said here. He goes, have you ever wondered why folks you previously thought of as left or center are appearing on Tucker Carlson? The Blaze, Epoch Times, etc. It's effectively the story behind this tweet. Before 2011, outfits like at NPR were less news services. About 10 years ago, that changed. He goes on to say, moral. When you want to know why dissent over right-wing media, it is largely about blackballing those who would disassemble the house narrative and strategies of legacy by and for generations now. That's why it seems insane. Don't fall for quote, Dr. XYZ went on the Epoch Times. It's a trick. Learn it. Instead, ask, why didn't you go on MSNBC, NPR, NY Times, CNN? Instead, embrace yourself for the answer. Thanks.
Keeps going.
Oh, we got a full end. It says end.
No. That's
it. That's all he said.
You missed like 2 or 3 tweets in the middle there. Try to find them if you can because they're more salient.
Yeah. I used to talk to folks at CNN, NPR, Washington, etc. all the time on inflation, physics, immigration, science, policy, etc. Then the reporters slowly started complaining about the situation at work. Much more. We went from news with spin to narrative.
More? Keep going.
Narrative-driven news was the NY Times special brand. On the one hand, it was written with live. On the other hand, I hated the idea that the narrative arc was constructed to fit facts that sometimes hadn't even happened yet. This idea of narrative being spin took off.
Some could call that social engineering, but good.
Reporters started warning me, quote, we're hiring kids who don't believe in objective factual reporting. Quote, we're being pushed to be on Twitter. Quote, editors aren't letting our best stories through as much. Quote, I can't use you anymore. Aren't going to play ball. It sucks.
Redo that tweet. Read it again. Again, this is from Eric Weinstein talking about why he's on Fox, no longer on CNN, no longer on New York Times, where he was all the time, where he's not on NPR, where he got famous essentially.
So reporters at these places started warning him, in quotes, we're hiring kids who don't believe in objective factual reporting. We're being on Twitter. Editors aren't letting our best stories through as much. I can't use you anymore if you aren't going to play ball. It sucks. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on to say, I can probably figure out the last time a reporter called me up trying to understand a story as opposed to trying to get grist for a gotcha piece. But it seems like years ago. So what happened? Many Democrats tried to get to NPR, etc., but found a door slammed in their face. Eventually, we took the hint. Journalism at prestige legacy media properties was changing. News desks were dropping stories entirely that didn't fit house narratives. They weren't forced to report them and spin them. They would just spike a story that previously would be a scoop.
Mm-hmm. I think the next one is to your point.
Yeah, and this led to a question. If Fox News is willing to run and spin a story that NY Times or CNN is pretending doesn't exist, do I go on that channel? Now, at first you think, why would left-leaning media push smart left-leaning academics to the right? But then you get it. The answer is that if you're a Democrat in the U.S. who doesn't agree with the new crazy direction of the party and its media, then in the new world, you need to become one of 2 things. A, silent, or B, side with the discredited far Looney Tunes right. Hence, you went on Fox. Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. So you'll see the following tweet. Quote, if you want to know who Professor ABC really is, look at where she chooses to appear, unquote.
Kafka trap.
But the good Dr. ABC isn't making this choice. She's choosing not to be silenced by media that stopped reporting and started defending news narratives. So expect more and more ordinary dissenting professors, physicians, economists, technologists to show up on right-of-center platforms. They aren't making the choice you're being led to believe they are. Ask instead, why did they choose Fox over NPR? And then you'll learn why. The last piece of diabolical BS is you will hear this. Quote, boo-hoo. People with enormous platforms whine about being canceled or silenced. Go cry to your millions of listeners. Not the point. Institutions can ignore almost any individual with large followings, but not big media. The point of cancellation is making sure that you don't have to go on Joe Rogan to spread reasoned dissent. If you if you could really do it through legacy media, it would force hearings. It would force disclosures.
There it is.
It would force resignations. But experts can't get the needed access anymore. And then it ends.
So, basically, to summarize, they're forcing their center to the right, so that then they can discredit what they're saying as crazy right-wing BS. You saw it with Tulsi Gabbard. You saw it with Brett Weinstein. You've seen it with Joe Rogan. You've seen it with Bill Maher now, where anybody who goes off the far left reservation is now packaged in with this crazy right-wing. And then the entire left, where it's the useful idiot. It's the person on Twitter. It's the woman, Joe from Jersey, with 2 million followers that goes, oh, but Democrat daddy, Bill Maher's saying this is bad, and I love Bill Maher. Bill Maher's a crazy right wing. Bill Maher was on Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Look at this. Oh my God, I never knew. Dude, Bill Maher is a crazy right wing Nazi. That's what they do.
Yeah. Same thing with Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson,
Right wing. Joe Rogan, right wing.
Joe Rogan, crazy right wing. And this is the Kafka trap. It's okay. I'll give you two choices. You can say what we want you to say, or you can say nothing. And you say to yourself, no, I'm going to say what I believe is the truth.
Right.
This circles all the way back to the producer telling me, hey, bro, you got to lay off that crazy conspiracy stuff. Okay, well, be specific. Which ones? It's just there's always like a boogeyman in the closet. It's like, be specific. That my groceries are twice as expensive? That gas is twice as expensive, but they're gaslighting us into believing it's down? Like what like that the Ukraine is taking $1 billion of our money and we don't know where 70% of that is? These are conspiracies? Or is it the vax stuff? Because now the CDC is saying what I was saying 2 years ago. So was that a conspiracy thing or was that a spoiler alert? Be specific. What conspiracies? No, but what they're saying is either say what we want you to say or I'm not going to put you on this show. You have no career unless you say what I tell you to say.
Right.
That's what he's saying very nicely. And what Eric Weinstein's saying here is same thing.
Yeah.
And you said it as well. Now, what was very interesting about reading that whole thing is your initial reaction to him saying Tucker Carlson was, ugh.
Yeah,
But you didn't
I
go,
stand by that.
But you didn't go, New York Times. You didn't go, any of the other places. NPR, no, only Tucker Carlson.
I like the tiny desk sessions.
So, no, I'm not trying to come at you. I'm just trying to explain this is exactly what they're doing. Because your visceral reaction to Tucker Carlson is now everybody else on the left going, Eric Weinstein's on Tucker Carlson? Ugh. But if he's on NPR saying the exact same thing, you're like, oh, that's an interesting point. If he's in the New York Times saying the exact same thing, oh, odd. I never thought of it that way.
I enjoy this, Eric. I hope he never goes on Tucker Carlson.
Right? Because it discredits him completely in the minds of the impressionable left. So, having read that, obviously I have my opinions on it. What are your thoughts on that? Working in media as well, so you have an informed opinion on this.
Yeah, it's it's pretty eye-opening. Yeah, it's like I like his approach of it. It's like, well, before you have this sort of disgust, Tucker Carlson. It's like, well, why is he on Tucker Carlson? Mm-hmm. And then it's, dude, it's just it sucks to think that like that is the real world where they're not, they're pushing a narrative
for sure,
and it's this. Okay, well, what's the end game? Like, okay, you're pushing this narrative, and then what? Is it just for control? Is it, okay, what's the ultimate play?
Yeah.
What do you want at the end of all this when you have everyone agreeing with you and just people, what is it? Just control?
Yeah, power. A lot of power. People really miss
But that's got to break
really,
at some point.
Nah, people really underestimate how much these people get off on power. Look,
yeah, but that power only lives for so long.
That's the thing. They always need more of it too. Power is the ultimate drug. They're constantly ambitious. They're constantly these people. You have to, man. It's so hard because most human beings have never met a politician. Really, I mean, honestly, they see them on TV. They've never met them. They don't know them on a human level.
Sure.
And they really don't know bureaucrats. They've never met somebody who works in the government. That's a cog in the wheel. These people are nuts. These people are insane. And they're the most power hungry, narcissistic, insane people.
Yeah.
Everything every human being that they've ever met in their life, the only thing that they think about is, how can I get what I want out of this person? They get off on the manipulation. Some of these people, then especially their lawyers, they get off on telling you a lie to your face and making you believe it. And they're like, this sucker. They don't see themselves as evil. They see themselves as better than you. You're dumb. That's why you didn't go to the Ivy League school. That's why you don't have the graduate degree. That's why you're not the congressman. Yeah. All right? Because I'm better than you, idiot. It's the same thing when they talk about recession. They roll their eyes. I don't have to explain myself to you, peasant. You wouldn't get modern monetary theory even if I explained it to you in crayons. Like they don't feel like they have an obligation to answer you. I'm just going to give these guys a line and move on. Look at the Elizabeth Warren thing. Elizabeth Warren, where she was, it just came out. And again, it's all over right-wing news sources, not on left-wing. So again, is it right-wing propaganda or is the left not promoting this because it goes against the narrative? Probably a bit of both. And it's a guy who goes up to Elizabeth Warren at a rally and says, so am I going to get money back? I paid off 2 kids. I didn't go on vacation for 20 years. I paid off debt for 2 kids. Am I going to get money back? She goes with almost like this laughing, smug disdain. Absolutely not. He goes, so I just get screwed then? He goes, well, you should feel good for your neighbors. No, I didn't run up credit card debt. All my friends for 20 years were going on vacation, running up their credit card debt, taking out loans. Now they get taken care of and I just get screwed. She goes, all right, well, you have a good day. Cuts it off and just walks. Because screw you. That's why. And I think this is why the people who get quote unquote red pilled the hardest are former lefties. Because they've been taught and told that Fox News is evil, Fox News is lying, blah, 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 blah. So when Fox News lies, it's not really a shock to them.
Right.
They've been told that these guys have been lying all the time. When Fox News exaggerates, it's not shocking because they've been told that these guys always lie. But the opposite of that is that CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, they got your back. They're telling you the truth. This is the good guys. So when you start reading into that and saying, oh, these guys are lying, the people that red pill the hardest are former lefties. Because they're like, I've been lied to my whole life.
Yeah. I do disagree with. I mean, yeah, there are people that swear by CNN, just like there are people that swear by Fox News.
People swear by MSNBC probably more than CNN.
Sure,
CNN has a massive credibility issue right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I think there's also this pretty, people collectively agree that those media outlets aren't always as honest and are very biased.
Yeah, but that's not who they get their news from, though.
Okay, sure.
They get their news from Colbert. They get their news from Seth Meyers. They get their news from Jimmy Kimmel. They get their news from John Oliver. They get their news from Trevor Noah. That like kind of cool kid.
They get their opinion from them.
That's their news. They can't separate the two. See, the cool kid Warby Parker professional left is, I don't watch CNN or MSNBC. I don't even watch the news. They're always lying to us. But you know what John Oliver said? Yeah. And that's just comedy. Stephen Colbert, that's just comedy. Saturday Night Live, that's just comedy. Although it's the same narrative over and over and over and over. So, again, I want to get to a point eventually, man, when I left politics for a reason. I didn't want to be in politics, David. I used to say this on the old podcast. I don't want to be in politics. I don't want to talk about this shit every day. I don't want to.
Just on Fridays.
I don't want to talk about it. But what else is there? This is everything always now. You can't watch sports without it being on. You can't listen to music without it being on. You can't turn on Netflix without it being on.
Yeah,
it's nonstop.
Ignore, though.
Huh?
Most people would rather ignore it and just be like, man, that's so fucking annoying. Anyway.
I feel you. So you ignore.
So would you?
You ignore a coup. You ignore your country being taken over. You ignore, okay, so you ignore it, and then what happens? You just wake up one day and you're like, oh, well, gas is twice as expensive, and groceries are well. And I can't.
People live that way, dude.
And it's $700 to fly to Indiana, so I can't do the show.
People, honestly, it's like. So am I. It's like, well, yeah, dude, that fucking sucks and shit's like pretty shitty right now, but what am I going to do about it?
Okay. I hear you.
I'll just move on with my career. So would you say...
Let's go back. I tell you what we can do. We can make each other not feel crazy. We can make each other not feel crazy because, dude, I tell you, sometimes I feel crazy. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel like, am I the only one am I the only one like affected by this?
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's like, wow, this sucks? Am I the only person that looks at my finances and goes, holy shit, dude, they're taking half my money. Half of it's going to gas. Half of it's going to groceries. Like everything I see is $2 more expensive than it was $6. Am I the only person that gets
bothered by that?
Bothered? Am I the only person flying in America where it's $700 to go to Florida, Indiana? No. That used to be a flight to Europe, dude.
Yeah.
It's $300 for me to go home to New York. What does that mean? I'm going to do it because I'm a single man. I'm just going to suck it up and do it. But if I have a family, imagine having to fly your family. If your family of 4, that's $1,200 to go home to see grandma. Are you really doing that? Are you taking $1,200? Do you have the money to do that? Because now groceries are twice as expensive. There's real consequences to this. A woman who follows me, Jen, who hit me up about the grocery thing that I did. And she goes, yeah, my groceries I had a $150 a week budget for groceries. Now it's $400. That's $250 a week. That's $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 at the end of the year. $12,000 more in groceries. How much more in gas? If she spends $100 a month in gas and gas is twice expensive, that's $200. 200 times 12 is what? $2,400. Now she's up to $15,000 more in expenses this year than last year. Do you think she got a $15,000 raise?
Of course not, no.
So there's real world consequences to this shit, man.
Yeah.
Real world consequences. So now, on top of it, let's say that she needs to fly home to Chicago because she wants to see her parents. She only sees her parents twice a year. But now, to take her 4 kids, it's $1,200, right? Instead of when it used to be $400, $500. So it's $1,200, and she's already $15,000 in the hole for just normal everyday expenses. People are getting screwed, man. People are getting a raw deal. And I feel like I'm crazy because it's never being talked about. So why do I want to bring up the judges from 2008? Because I want to show people, like, this is the manipulation. I Googled airline prices 2 days ago, and I'm talking about ABC, CBS, I'm talking about everything above the fold on Google said, airline prices coming down, buy now, airline prices. Airlines never been more expensive. In my life, the gaslighting, the manipulation, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I think what we're doing is important, having these conversations, because there's somebody listening out there that has to feel the way I feel. And they have to feel like they're going crazy because everything they see in the media, everything they see online, everything they read in the news is telling them one thing. And then everything we see in reality is telling us another. Straight up to the race riots, straight up to the fact that this country is ripping apart at the seams. Do you see white people and black people not having fun with each other in public?
Yeah, I know.
You go down to Fort Lauderdale, you doing down to Los Olos, you see people of all colors sitting there hanging out, laughing with one another, but you turn on the news and it's racial strife threatens to rip this country apart. Where? On college campuses where these kids are being indoctrinated? That's why this is important. And I don't want to do this every week. I don't want to talk about this shit every week. I want this to end. I want desperately for us to take the power back. I want desperately to feel like we have a government that has our best interest in mind. I want that desperately. But until then, this is all we can do. Until then, all we can do is make the people that are listening at home say, man, you're not alone. And man, you're not whining. You're going through it right now, man. We're all going through it. We're being screwed. We are getting a raw deal, and you are not crazy to think that. It's happening. And if we can make you laugh a little bit along the way, all the better. With that, I am Gerard Michaels. Please check out on social media. Got a whole bunch of shows coming up. It would be great to see you out there. Next, I'm in Louisville, and then from Louisville to Houston. So if you guys are out there, hopefully you come see a show. And hey, I am shadow banned, guys. I am shadow banned. So if you like this show, if you're one of the amazing listeners, I can't believe we have over 1,000 followers already. That's incredible in 8 shows. I can't thank you guys enough. We don't have a massive audience, but the audience we have is massive. Love you guys. And if you can share this, if you can text it